All right, folks. Hello and welcome back to the Marketing and Business Show. I hope you're all doing really, really well. I'm, like always, doing good, doing great, learning lots, moving forward. As Alex would say, hustling along nicely. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Alex, how are you doing?
Good, mate. Yeah, pretty good. I'm trying to think of some different crack to start the podcast with, rather than just saying, "Yeah, I'm just grafting, working really hard. It's going really good." Yeah, we're ticking along. Everything's good. Life's going on. Yeah,
Things are happening. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm actually, I'm quite chuffed. So, and another thing I'm doing completely on the side is like a YouTube channel with my brother Stephen called The Classic Show. The name's kind of funny, right? I'd probably pick a different name, but he set it up, so we went with it anyway. And it kind of just documents what we're doing with like Land Rovers and classic cars. Stephen puts up videos on classic cars. And like, to be honest with you, we've got a grand little following, a little group of fans, let's just say, of about 477 people. I know that because I just checked. Like, it's not big, right? It's not a big following, but it's definitely growing. And that's something that I'm really happy with. Just it's fun, but it's great to see it.
Have you? Do you know this is quite relevant actually? Have you ever read an article called "1,000 True Fans" by Kevin Kelly?
Do you know what? I've heard of that, and I think I have read or listened to it, but I can't remember. Remind me, what's it about?
So Kevin Kelly's idea in this article, it's quite a famous article. I mean, I don't know if we can link below in the show notes, but if you just go on Google and search 1,000 True Fans, and there's a really good article that somebody wrote on like an idea that if you wanted to build an audience if you wanted to build like a lifestyle doing what you love, you literally don't need a massive audience at all. And he breaks the numbers down, and he's basically saying that you only need 1,000 people to follow you, or 1,000 people who love what you do to achieve that. And a true fan in his terms is basically someone who, loves everything you put out, buys everything you offer them as a product or a service, and you only need 1,000 of those people, and you are literally off to the races, rather than what people seem to think you have to have millions of people and stuff. But whereas your little audience is proper niche, all into Land Rovers and classic cars, which is real cool.
Yeah. But you know what's pretty cool about it? I think we're only scratching the surface of that audience. I think that audience and that show can grow substantially more. And I think, as we double down, and some of the advice you gave me in terms of like how to create content and titles and how to look at creating content, what to create it on, I think that's going to do some pretty cool stuff. And yeah, like I was really nervous, like putting up the first videos, like as we talked about this before in the podcast, even creating this show, like, sometimes you'd be nervous. We've even come on a lot since our very first episode, because we were actually nervous because you'd never done podcasting before either. So it was all very different. But it kind of brings us on, and this wasn't planned, but it kind of transitions nicely to a topic we would like to maybe just delve into a little bit. It's a really broad topic.
Explore.
But pardon?
Explore.
There you are. I'm so polite, guys. I even say pardon on a podcast. But we're going to explore a bit more about, and it comes with the territory of doing stuff like this, or rather just doing anything that's different, anything that's not been done before, or the masses don't do, or maybe that they're afraid to do. And that is to put yourself out there, create content, create businesses, and just promote what you're doing. I think that's what our lives are all about, Alex, really. Like, we're always, if we're not creating this podcast, you're creating your own YouTube stuff, you're creating videos. You just told me you created like 10 videos on different things. I'm creating stuff on the Classic Show. I'm contacting potential clients, like, letting them know what we do. It's always putting yourself out there. And when you do that, people kind of sometimes can turn on you, and not necessarily always to your face, sometimes in the background. And yeah, so we kind of want to talk about like
come on, just say what it is. We're talking about haters.
Yeah, something like that.
You were like beating around the bush there. Like, I don't want to say the haters word. I want to say something a little bit nicer, bring people into it. But no, Alex, just go straight in with the kill. Haters. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about people who seem to have a dislike to some people when they go off the beaten track and doing their own thing. So this is something that I've experienced from the start of creating content. And to be honest with you, it's probably quite relatable to anybody who puts themselves out there on whether it's a podcast, YouTube video, or just goes their own way in creating stuff and wanting to create and carve out their own lifestyle, because it's seen as completely different. And on a broader scale, if you go against something that the tribe is doing or what most people are doing, it's almost like, I wouldn't say frowned upon, but sometimes I feel people don't really understand. And what people don't understand is when people get upset or confused. And when they're confused, that's kind of like what creates this cognitive dissonance. So like that creates this.
What's cognitive dissonance? I can't pronounce it. What's that mean?
Cognitive dissonance is like where there's a gap between, like, let me just pull up a Google search to make sure I get this correct.
Yeah, okay. We'll give it to you.
Right, 1 second. Here it is. Cognitive dissonance is a mental conflict that occurs when your beliefs don't line up with your actions. So that kind of relates to why someone may not like you for doing something. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's not exactly cognitive dissonance, but essentially when somebody sees somebody else doing something different, it kind of like is a self-reflection on somebody else, I would say. But that usually comes across as, for a better sense, hate. And if you ask anybody who puts themselves out there to be judged, essentially on a stage like this, they're opening themselves up to everything, positive and negative. Would you agree?
100%. You're completely open to that, and yeah, you get the negative. I've got the negative in my life. When I was I'll be honest, when I was in secondary school, I didn't really like it. It wasn't my thing. And there's plenty of people I liked in secondary school, but I didn't completely just gel with it. And yeah, I would have put myself out there by I just would have been I had interest in different things. I suppose that's the best thing. Like I just like selling machines and, looking to make a bit of money and different things. Whereas other people just had different ideas, but they want to play football. But I didn't really want to do that. Now I've got more into sport. But then I had no interest in group team sports. So that just kind of makes you a bit different. And I suppose when you're creating content or doing these sort of businesses, you are doing the same thing. You're raising your hand. You're saying, hey, I'm doing this. And a lot of people look and say, that's brilliant. I love what you're doing. Other people look and say, you know what? I feel bad because I'm not doing that. But therefore, look at them. Oh, look at them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I have a pretty blunt question, but you ever bullied at school?
Oh yeah, back in the day, whereas that would have bothered me a lot for a long time. Whereas now I'm actually in a position where, you know what, I don't really care.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, I don't care at all. I don't want to say I don't really care. I don't care.
See, I'm just opening up something I wrote on Twitter actually, just to reference.
Yeah, you tweet a lot now.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as at Holowko, HOLOWKO_Alex. So Twitter, I'm kind of using as again, another platform I'm putting myself out there on to be judged. And, I'm not trying to grow audiences on these different platforms or with the goal of being rich and famous or anything. It's literally all these ways. I've actually just discovered this. And obviously there are some things we look at which we can monetize in the future, say building an email list, building a newsletter, building a loyal tribe of subscribers and getting ad revenue from YouTube videos and all this stuff. We're making money, cool, fantastic. But at the grand scale of things for me, creativity, content creation, all this stuff is a way for me to explore my genuine curiosities. And Twitter for me is almost like a public journal. So it's a way just to jot down and share ideas that come top of mind. Twitter gives you a really small number of characters. So you have to really think about what you're saying and what you want to share. Because obviously you can't put massive chunks of text in there. You have to really condense what you're thinking and put it into a really, really powerful quote or a powerful sentence. So that for me is just a way of condensing what I'm thinking and sharing ideas with people that maybe, previous me would have benefited from. And at the minute, I'm kind of passionate about talking about becoming a part-time creator. So this is kind of a new thing for me, PL. Well, it's not a new thing. It's a realization. So I've been sharing stuff recently about, helping people with this content creation thing and creating stuff online, however you want to create stuff, whether it's the written word, podcast, video, whatever. And I realized that I was talking from a standpoint of like where I am, which is a full-time creator. So I earn most of my income from content creation. But I understand that a lot of people don't do that, or don't have the, they're not in that position. They may not even want to be in that position. They may have like a 9-to-5 job or something else going on and want to create content on the side, or, just express their creativity in their spare time. So now I've kind of switched my focus and pivoted to position this more as, okay, how do I help people who want to become a part-time creator? Create things on the weekend and show them that it is actually possible to explore their own genuine curiosities and do all this cool stuff without having to go full-time and all in and quit your job and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And just putting my message out on Twitter, that's kind of like what I'm trying to share now, which is kind of cool. But again, that's just coming full circle before I go off track completely. That is just a way of sharing ideas and putting myself out there in the written form, which is quite new to me, but it's very interesting because it's a different audience I'm attracting, and it's a different audience engaging with my stuff. I'm just trying to find this tweet again still. I've tweeted I've 349 tweets in the last couple of weeks, which I don't know is a lot, but they're literally just all my brain farts. So what did I where is it? Too much going on there. We need some filler content, Peter.
I could play some music. I just don't know how to do it. I remember I figured it out.
No, I can't find it. Where are we at?
Yeah. Here, I have it.
I've got it here. I've got it. So yeah, I actually wrote a thread, and it was basically like reasons why people don't like somebody else succeeding, or don't like seeing somebody else do better than them in essence. And even it's funny even talking about it right now, because I actually feel like I'm putting myself out to be judged just by talking about how people may hate on anybody for having success. I'm almost like I feel actually like I'm being judged right now for saying this. Mm-hmm. And these are just things that I've experienced recently. So I'll just condense it into the 4 points that I wrote. And the first point was, your success reminds people that they gave up on their dreams. That's the first point. Mm-hmm. Second point, your success reminds them that the norm isn't fulfilling. Third point, your success reminds them that they have unfulfilled dreams. And the fourth point, people have no idea what you've been through to reach your level of success, whatever that is. And I actually expanded on some of these points and talked, but you can go and check it out on Twitter, but they were essentially just boiled down thoughts that I had on some things that I'd experienced recently, which I don't really want to get too deep into. But it was very interesting. I never actually got angry at the hate that I received recently. But it was interesting. Like exploring that and like maybe just playing out like potentially why someone might think like that or feel like that towards somebody else in a broader sense. Like, why would somebody want to hate somebody else? So yeah, that was kind of
I think, and there's two things. Sorry, Alex, that I kind of take from it. Right, I read something once, and it was, you're not marketing hard enough if you haven't received hate mail by, and this is like hate mail, but like hate or like, negative comments and, targeted comments by 12 o'clock every day. So I think that's like a switch you can flick where it's like, you know what, it's actually a good thing because it means you're reaching literally all these people and you're obviously irking them up enough to actually do this, which means you're doing a great job. And to be honest with you, there was a time when, I really cared what people thought. Like, obviously, sometimes you have to care about what people think. Like, but it depends on the person. You can't care what everyone thinks, especially when you're online and you're dealing with thousands of people. Like, it's just not feasible to care what they all think, let alone know what they think, because they sometimes don't even know themselves. So, to be honest with you, I just switch off from it. And I'll be honest, I don't get a lot of it. I've got it in the past, and just whatever. I think as you grow as a person, as you start doing more of this, you realize it actually doesn't matter. What can they actually do to you, these people? Like, I used to be, you'd be so afraid of like offending someone or making someone, get annoyed with you or just because they didn't agree with you. And, but what's going to happen? They're not going to come to your house and start shouting at you. They're not going to, they can't do a lot, these people, but yet it's us that gives them the power. So I think as content creators, as people that are running online businesses and doing all this stuff, bring it on. Isn't it great?
Yeah, true. I mean, I'll just come back to a point you said then, which was about, quote, upsetting somebody before midday. If you haven't upset someone by midday, you're not doing it right. You're not.
I don't tend to set up upset people, but they choose to be upset.
Yeah. So this is what This is what I wanted just to bring up a second. So when we talk about upsetting someone, I don't mean actively go out to destroy somebody else. I mean, like when you are creating stuff online or going your own way or building your own business or whatever it is you're doing, you tend to have to be polarizing. So you tend to have certain opinions on things that basically say, look, guys and girls, I'm over here. This is what I believe. And you essentially are calling out something else, basically. So you're saying that you are on this side of the fence and not this side. So the people, obviously, who are of an opposite thought to you, they're the people that may get upset by the way that you are thinking. I mean, the last few years are a bloody good example of this. There was, I tuned out to a lot of it towards the end because I just literally just stopped caring what people thought. But the last few years, if anything, has shown people that all this COVID stuff has literally created this like us versus them mentality in some respects, and it's almost created this big separation. And we could talk about this in depth. I don't want to talk about that in this podcast, but that was just a really good example for me from a big scale of like, wow, this is crazy what being polarizing can actually do. So yeah, but like when you go in your own way, your own path, you will have, I would hope you would have some sort of polarizing ideas on things and thoughts and values that positions you in a way that, yeah, sure, some people will not like what you're doing. That's just logic. Like, you can't please everyone, like they say. If you try and please everyone, you are going to have a bad time. Like, seriously going to have a really bad time. I've always said that when you are doing stuff like this, you want to create an audience or a community of people who follow you who love what you do. So they're all in on what you do. They have the same values, the same beliefs as you, stuff like that, rather than kind of being on the fence and a bit vanilla and a bit like, oh, I like this person, but I'm not that keen on him. I'm a bit vanilla, trying to please everyone, because that to me is a bit, I either jive with people or I don't. Like, I not in a bad way or a negative way. It's just what it is. Like, I mean, that's what I believe it should be. I try and, I'll speak to everyone. I'll be friendly with people. But if there are toxic people in my life, for example, I don't go out my way to interact with them, or I don't go out my way to try and be part of their community and their environment. So, yeah, but I feel
and I'm sure there's people that will relate to them.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. Like, I feel every single person has their own little mini tribe of like people who believe in what they believe. But yeah, being a people pleaser is a definite way to put yourself in the gutter and drain yourself of absolutely every ounce of energy you have.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have to, live your own life, which means that there's no point trying to please everyone else, because you're not pleasing no one, including yourself. And then also, I was thinking about something there, like when you're doing something like this and you sharing your messages, be it about business, be it about your hobby, be it about whatever it is you're sharing, and kind of what we're doing here, we're sharing a bit of everything. They say 10% of people, like you were talking about true fans, probably like 10, maybe less, 5% are really, they're true fans. A lot of the others are kind of like, they like it, but they can take it or leave it. And then like there's a certain amount of people, then they just won't gel at all. They'll just be like, no. But that's going to be the way. There's no way around that. So I think if you're starting to like do stuff like this, you want to launch your business and just move forward, some people aren't going to like that. But so what?
Even sharing different ideas. Say, for example, me writing some email newsletters or putting email broadcasts out to my list of fans of, I don't know how many are on there now. It's like
500 million people.
870 people, which is so small on the grand scale of things, so small. But
it's your little tribe,
it's cool, it's growing. And I'm trying to treat every single person on that list as an actual person rather than just a number on a list. But like, even just putting out content to that list, there are certain things that I've shared with that audience, even on any social media platform, actually. You'll find that certain ideas and certain videos and certain posts will resonate with people, and then certain posts that won't resonate with people. So, I don't know if you've ever posted something on social media and it's fallen on deaf ears, and you have all these thoughts going around your head like, oh shit, like, What have I done? People aren't going to like me, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? What I've come to realize is people really do not care. Like, people have so much of their own crap going on that they do not care about your stupid, crappy little post. And
yeah,
they just glance over it. If they don't, you know what I mean? If it doesn't trigger them and they're not interested, they just scroll past it. They're not interested. Cool, job done. But the way I've trying to see content now and sharing stuff is just, you are literally just sharing ideas of the world. And some ideas resonate and hook people, and some ideas literally just fall on deaf ears, and you have to accept that. But then when you do get something that does interest people, then you start, seeing patterns in like, oh, my audience likes this, they don't like this. Let's make more of the stuff that's working, kind of thing. That's kind of like what I'm thinking about now, rather than being like, God, I've got to get this piece of content has to be so perfect. It's got to blow up. It's got to, people have got to love it. I'm like, do you know what? I don't even care. If something is 80% of the way there, I just ship the thing anyway. Just like literally. And I said ship there, not SHIT. I said like ship it, as in like get it out there, post it, share it. Just click send, whatever. Who cares? Stop being perfectionist. Just share it. Forget about it. Whatever. Like, forget about what Barry957 has to say about your post. If it's a negative thing, just get rid of him. Whatever.
I think it's kind of
funny. Like, there are people who like it.
I think it's kind of funny too. Like when you're going to do something in business, sometimes you're like, oh, someone else is doing it, or it might, what will this person think? Don't worry what they think. Just do your own thing, and that's why I'm a big believer sometimes in like trying to block out a lot of like create content, yeah, but don't necessarily consume a lot of content, because this is my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes I think when you're consuming a lot of content, or you're worrying too much what other people think, you end up forgetting what you actually want.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm trying to, I feel I'm fairly switched on now to when I am actually in that consuming content mode, rather than being on social media for like a productive reason. I know it's a hard trap to fall. It's an easy trap to fall into. Like, you can go onto TikTok or whatever, and you can be on there like, I went on there for 5 minutes, and then 4 hours later, you're still on this bloody stupid app, scrolling through videos of cats and all this crap. So it can be so easy to get sucked in, but that's why these platforms are so popular and so powerful. But you can use it to your advantage. But you just got to, be mindful.
You need to become aware of that. You really need to become aware of it.
Exactly.
So yeah, just to close, folks, I think if you start doing this, if you start, if you launch a new business, online, offline, you start doing anything different. People might be saying, well, that's not a great idea. I don't think you should do that business. Or, you know what, you're posting all that stuff online, or maybe you shouldn't. And sometimes it's out of goodness, but other times it's like people just genuinely would love to be doing it themselves. And they're going to say, oh, I remember Peter when he was young, he was whatever. And, he wasn't a nice guy or whatever. Or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just be aware that'll happen. And you know what? Just push past it.
Before we close, actually,
yeah,
your confidence has grown in the last couple of months for sure. With like the data stuff we've been doing and hidden traffic. I had this almost feeling that you were almost scared of speaking to people on the phone, or like cold, reaching out to someone cold a few months ago. I don't know what it was or what was stopping you, but as soon as you started doing it and getting results back and people saying, oh yeah, I'd like to jump on a phone call to discuss this more, you were literally, the amount of people that were booking calls with you or responding to you in a message almost as like this reinforcement cycle of confidence. And it's just almost like you develop this sort of thick skin in a sense of like, well, if somebody says no, if somebody's not interested, so what? Like, next person, cool.
Well, here's
the
thing, Alex, right? Yeah, I was terrified of, I've done sales a lot when I was younger, and it was always in person, and it was people coming to me to buy something. So it was kind of a very transactional thing. Sometimes I had to convince them why they wanted it, but they were 90% of the way there, and I just had to do the right deal. What we're doing with the data and stuff is a little bit different, but at the same time, I would reach out to people with email. If they didn't respond, if I could get the telephone number, I'd pick up the phone. I remember I was nervous ringing, but it actually worked really well. And I've spoken to quite a few people on the phone now, cold. Like, I wouldn't be fully cold, as in they've got an email, but they probably haven't seen it. And you know what? I was excited. I was kind of waiting for the first person to kind of push me off, like, and kind of just, oh, what are you ringing me for? It didn't happen yet. And to us, it will happen. But you know what? Isn't it great? Because I can just pick up the phone and ring another person. It's nearly like, and I'm not a gambler really, like, but it's nearly like the gambling table, like, and it's like Russian roulette. It's like, what will you get, a friendly person or a not friendly person? But it's like, you just keep doing it over and over again. And every time it's like, who's going to answer the phone now? Are they going to be nice or they're not going to be nice? I think it's a great skill to have.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, a great learning lesson was yesterday. There was a client we spoke with who was interested in what we had to offer him, but then there were certain things that he wasn't sold on. So instead of, me and Peter could have been angry and called this guy out and been like, you don't know what you're talking about. We know better than you. But instead, I don't know about you, but I found that my ears perked up and was like, right, what is this guy saying? What does he not, what's he not agreeing with? And I think we took that away as a really positive thing and being like, right, this is what we need to improve to move forward, rather than just like completely going on the offensive against this for a better sense. It wasn't hatred, but it was just constructive criticism, let's say. But we literally analysed it and be like, okay, why does this person think like this? And it's the same. It's just all, it's all connected. It's all kind of similar. So yeah, I feel we've covered quite a lot of ground in this little ranty, thought-provoking exploration of a journey.
Well, I'm actually, funny, just closing on it. I'm actually so excited. I'd love if I had a list of 10 numbers to ring now. I'm like, I love selling. I want more people ringing. Like, I want more people buying. It's just so exciting. And do you know what? It is really a skill, like selling and marketing and all this. Like it's, and even selling yourself. That's what you're doing on social media in a way. But like, you just have to be yourself.
Everybody's selling, right?
But you don't have to be yourself. Like, I'm sorry, you don't have to be a fake person on social media. That's the thing about it. You can be yourself. But then if the people see that, and it's such an easy sell because they either like you or they don't, but they'll be attracted to you if they like you. And you're going out to many, so you will get, I don't mean sales financially. I mean, you'll get followers, subscribers, fans. But the same thing with business deals, like just be yourself. I've discovered that. And for a long time, I thought I had to be someone else or in order for things to work. Whereas now I realize you just be yourself and be honest. Like, not that I wasn't honest, but like just honesty, really blunt honesty is actually the best.
Yeah, for sure. People can see through transparent, people can see through bullshit a mile off. So,
and people thought they had to like put on this show, like fake it till you make it. Whereas, you know what? It's so much. There's a funny thing here. Well, I did this. There was a comedy show in Ireland during the recession back in 2008, 2009. It was of a builder, and he was there and he was like, oh, now, doing the interview. And he's like, oh, now it's very hard, making the lads look busy, like it's harder to look busy than it is to be busy. So they're moving the gravel from here to here and back and forth just to keep the lads going on the site, But like, it's harder to fake it, I think, than it is just to do it and be yourself.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, that's really good ending. That's really good to end on. But folks, if this is something that you're kind of enjoying, and we're figuring this out as we go along. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you have it. Leave us a comment. I know a lot of you are listening in, but not necessarily always commenting. But if you want to comment, leave a comment. We don't bite. We're not haters. We're all for it.
Take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one.
Take it easy. Oh, and guys, it's near our longest podcast as well. 28 minutes. I can tell you. Getting professional. Chat to you later.
See ya.